Think of the recipes in this book as your starting point. With a few extra driving directions, they can shapeshift into something else entirely. You're cooking between the pages now. That's freestyling. One of the best recipes in the book are the empanadas, but you don't have to stick to just sweet stuffings. Once you learn how to sort of do the dough, which is really easy, and fry them up, you can stuff them with anything, including all sorts of savory stuffings. Here's how you do a pork shoulder empanada with little cherry tomatoes, and it is so simple and so tasty. You start 2 days before. You're gonna need about 3.5 pound pork shoulder roast. It starts with a lot of salt, about 1/4 of a cup to 1/3 of a cup of salt. About 2 tablespoons of brown sugar will help it to caramelize on the top, which is super delicious. A lot of black pepper goes into this. You can put as much as you want. Too much is about enough. Cumin, I'm going for about 1 tablespoon, but again, you can kind of go a little higher if you want. And I like to put oregano also for little pieces for that sort of herbal flavor, and I'm gonna go for about 2 tablespoons of oregano. The salt and the sugar are the most important on this. Everything else is just aromatic. You can leave it out, you can shake it up and put something else in it. You could add a little cinnamon, leave out the cumin, make all sorts of different rubs for this. So you're gonna kind of mix it all together and then kind of pat it and press it into the pork on all sides. It'll fall off, but just keep picking it up and sticking it back on. Now just put it in the fridge and leave it there overnight. So here's how I like to roast a pork shoulder. I go on low temperature, so about 250 degrees. I put the cold pork right into the oven, turn the oven on to 250. It should totally fall apart when it's done. It'll take about 9 to 12 hours for that to happen. The pork should be really crispy on the outside and perfectly fatty and salty on the inside. Look at how amazing this is. Now once it's kind of cooled, you're gonna roughly chop it up into smaller pieces. You can kind of shred it, but also chop it because you don't wanna just shred it. You're gonna stuff empanadas with it, so you want slightly smaller pieces. Now you're not gonna use this whole thing for stuffing the empanadas. So you're gonna sort of set aside this little bowl of it, and the rest you're gonna freeze or make tacos out of for lunches or dinners later. You can use a smaller one, although with the bone in, you probably just wanna go with this one. When you put the pork in the oven, now is a good time to start your empanada dough. Just get it all together and let it rest in your refrigerator for an hour. And then sometime in the next couple of hours, you wanna get it out, roll it out, cut it into the circles, and then kind of layer it in parchment. That makes it a lot easier later when you're ready to stuff your empanadas with the pork. About 2 hours before your pork is done, you're gonna wanna roast some cherry tomatoes. You can't really go wrong here. Just salt and pepper them, put some olive oil on them if you want, and stick them in the oven until they sort of wrinkle and kind of melt. Lots of the water is getting evaporated from these, so they're gonna get really, really flavorful and sort of concentrated in flavor. So let's make our cilantro emulsion right now before we stuff the empanadas and fry them. Just take a big bunch of cilantro, a good amount of salt, a lot of vinegar, kind of a lot of olive oil. If you put 2 tablespoons of mayo in here, it's gonna bring it all together and kind of emulsify it. Just put everything in the food processor and pulse it until it's smooth, and then set that aside until you're ready to serve your empanadas. Right now you wanna get together all of your stuffing ingredients, which is really just the pork and the tomatoes. And remove your round of dough from the refrigerator and roll it out. Gather all of your stuffing ingredients, and this is the fun part. Place a round of dough on your empanada sealer. Kind of smooth it to the edges so that you make sure that it's going to seal when you close it. And fill it with a little bit of shredded pork, just like a couple of tablespoons, and 1 or 2 roasted cherry tomatoes, depending on how much will fit. Then you're gonna seal it, make sure it's really sealed, and then repeat until it's all done. When your oil gets to 365 degrees, carefully drop each empanada right in and let it fry for about 3 minutes aside. You're only gonna wanna do 1 or 2 at a time. Carefully remove them and set them on a platter lined with a paper towel. You should end up with 10 to 12 pork and tomato empanadas, and serve that with that gorgeous cilantro sauce. Now that is some freestyling right there.